about the eclipse. We've got pictures, we've got lots more. And don't go anywhere. We're going to be back soon. We're going to be here for the next 6 hours, and we're going to talk about our amazing partners. We're going to talk about what happens during an annular eclipse. So stay tuned. You're watching an annular solar eclipse from Roswell, New Mexico, and we're looking at some beautiful telescope images of the sun. Our main image being from Roswell, New Mexico, USA. So no clouds at the moment, and we're very, very happy about that. But we did travel across the border to Odessa, Texas, and we have a beautiful telescope image of the sun there as well. And San Diego has also joined the party. So San Diego, California, they're getting a partial eclipse today. So we've got a whole sun party going on here in Roswell, New Mexico, and we're having fun with it. So we're just a few minutes away from the start of the partial phase of this eclipse. That's when the moon's disk starts eating away across the sun. So we're excited about that happening. So we've got Graham and I here. We've got and Jeremy over there with manning the telescope. We've got Konstantin and Stefan in Odessa, Texas, just across the border, to make sure that we don't get clouded out anywhere, at least on our watch, right? So we've also got telescopes from our partners in North and South America that are dotted along the path of annularity. So Graham, what are we in for today?
Yeah, so once again, Anna, we are really honored and privileged to be working with some very talented astronomers across North and South America today. And we can have a look at where our partners are if we bring up and have a look at the map for today's eclipse. Here it is. This is the eclipse map. The light shaded area on this map, this shows where a partial solar eclipse will be visible today. And that's pretty much all of North and South America. Now, running through the middle of the map, we have that very thin pink line. That is the path of annularity. That is the very narrow strip along which people can see annularity, the moment when the moon gets completely silhouetted against the sun and the sun forms this ring of fire around the edge of the moon. It's a very thin path. It runs from the Pacific Ocean across North and South America and ends in the Atlantic Ocean. And along the path, we've marked with some dots the locations of our streaming partners today. So the first dot on the map in the top left side of the map, this is a dot in Klamath Falls in Oregon on the west coast of the United States. They will be among the first people to see the ring of fire today. In Klamath Falls, we have Jim Todd from the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry. And he is at an eclipse event that is being hosted by Running Y Resort. It's a beautiful location in Oregon, and they're having a big eclipse event today. And well, the only thing is, as for everybody today, we just have our fingers crossed for clear skies, because there's nothing guaranteed about clear skies at any of our locations today. So we are, yes, keeping our fingers crossed and hoping for clear skies. So that's our first dot on the map there in Oregon.
Yep, and we've got a second dot on the map, and that one's a little bit outside the path of annularity. That is San Diego, California. We're looking at images from San Diego right now. That's a beautiful telescope image of the sun. And we have our longtime partner, Gary Hawkins, from the San Diego Astronomy Association there. And he is going to be getting a partial eclipse, like you explained, outside that narrow path. The people that are standing looking up at the sun there will get a partial eclipse. And so Gary has collaborated with us 6 times, and he's gone off to stream this eclipse for us. But he's normally works with Dave Decker, who works with us as well. And Dave, he's doing other stuff. He's with the members of the San Diego Astronomy Association doing an event in Balboa Park. And they've reported that they've got a bit of iffy weather, so they are actually setting up a TV with this live feed on it. So that's awesome. So they're going to be watching our stream from there. And then one more thing I noticed, I forgot. I'm going to be banging on about it, on and on and on about it. Solar eclipse glasses, wear them. At no point during this eclipse does the sun completely disappear. So wear your glasses. Partial eclipse, they're needed already. So remember, keep safe.
Absolutely, absolutely. And well, turning our attention back to the map in the top right corner there. So today's eclipse, the moon's shadow is moving to the south and to the east. So it starts in the morning in North America. It ends in the afternoon in South America. And we have some dots along the path of annularity in South America, indicating our stream locations there. In Colombia, we have 2 locations. We are working with a wonderful team from the planetarium in Medellin. And they have 2 teams that have ventured out to the path of annularity to capture today's eclipse. In the city of Roldanillo in Colombia, we have Angela Perez. And in the nearby city of Neiva in Colombia, we have Michelle Mora. And we're looking forward to images from them later on today.
We're actually looking at an image from Neiva in Colombia right now.
Well, there you go. Right, here we have our first images now coming in, right, from South America. So yes, this is coming in from Michelle Mora, who is there on the ground in Neiva. Still quite a few hours away from annularity. So great to see the sun there from South America. We have just a few more dots to talk about on our map. Right near the end of the path of annularity in eastern Brazil, we have been working with the National Observatory in Brazil. There is a wonderful team there who is led by Josina Oliveira do Nascimento. And the National Observatory have teams out across Brazil today. And we are looking forward to getting images from a number of locations, including the cities of Floriano and Picos and Juazeiro do Norte and Carnaúba dos Dantas in Brazil. That will be coming up later on today towards the end of the eclipse. Pictures from Brazil. Meanwhile, the rest of North and South America enjoying a partial solar eclipse today.
Yeah. And we have first contact coming up soon, partial eclipse starting in the path of annularity and also in San Diego. So we're waiting on that. We've got at 15:05, there's first contact in Klamath, Oregon. Now, we haven't had any pictures from them yet, so we're keeping our fingers crossed for technical issues, for weather issues, all those things. And next is San Diego at 15:09, first contact there. So you can see from the clock below us that that's not too far away, about, I don't know, I'm not very good at this, 15 minutes or so?
That's 15 minutes or so, yeah.
So in the meantime, make sure to check out our live news feed on Time and Date Not Live. We've got images, we've got posts, we've got information about eclipses, we've got information about our partners, about us and what we're doing, about our team here in New Mexico. So take a look there and we will be back soon. You're watching an annular solar eclipse live on time and date. We're here in Roswell, New Mexico, and first contact, the partial eclipse, has started in San Diego. We can see the moon eating away at the sun there. So well done, Gary. You did it. San Diego's going to get a 68% partial eclipse, and they're well on their way to getting that. We're also looking at images from Odessa in Texas. That's the second time and date stream team out there, just across the border in Odessa, Texas, and they're getting a beautiful image of the sun. As you can see, partial has not started there yet. And then we've got some images from Bluff in Utah. That's from the Exploratorium, and Robin Higdon's team there helping us out with some images. So thank you to them for that. We're also starting to get some questions on YouTube. People are getting excited. We're getting a lot of shares. We're getting a lot of comments. And they're wondering, why is the camera shaking, Graham?
Right, we have seen a little bit of shaking in one or two of our images. That is all down to wind. You know, Anna, the main foe of astronomers is clouds.
Yeah.
But there are other secondary foes, and one of them is wind. And it can be surprising how a good strong wind can shake the telescope, and of course, because it's using magnification, then that can turn into a wobble on the screen. So that is the cause of the wobbling we're seeing there. Yes, and by the way, that's the partial eclipse there in San Diego. Also, partial eclipse underway in Bluff, Utah. We can see. So it's starting across North America.
It is. The shaking also can be weighed down a bit. We've got water bottles hanging from our telescopes and stuff to really try to keep it as stable as possible. But wind, it's not our best friend. Annularity is going to begin in about 1 hour. That's when our timeline there on the side is going to start moving. Don't forget, we've got our UTC time down at the bottom here, so just join us in that global time and you don't have to worry about local time because we've got it all here on the screen. And today is an annular solar eclipse. So what is an annular solar eclipse and how is it different from a total solar eclipse? We're lucky we've got an astrophysicist right here that can explain it all, and I can ask that silly questions.
Okay, well, Anna, with solar eclipses, the magic of solar eclipses always comes down to an amazing celestial coincidence, in that we have the sun and the moon that are very different sizes. The sun is about 400 times bigger than the moon. The coincidence is that it's also about 400 times further from the Earth than the moon. So when we see them in the sky, the sun and the moon appear to be almost exactly the same size. Now, we say almost exactly the same size. The moon's orbit around the Earth is not a perfect circle. No. It is an ellipse, or a kind of a slightly squashed circular shape. And this means that sometimes the moon is a little bit closer to us and sometimes it's a little bit further away from us. We hear a lot of talk these days about things like supermoons and micromoons, and this is a result of the moon being slightly closer or further away from us. Now, to be honest, it's always really difficult to tell the difference between a supermoon and a micromoon and just a regular moon. But when it comes to eclipses, these small differences in the moon's difference, they make all the difference. So in a total solar eclipse, that is where the moon is a little bit closer to us, is a little bit bigger, and it just manages to cover the entire sun. Not for long, because it only just covers the sun, and totality lasts at most 6 or 7 minutes. For an annular eclipse, like today, the moon is a little bit further away and it's a little bit smaller, and it just doesn't quite manage to cover the sun completely. It leaves a little ring around the edge. And again, the sizes are almost, are so close that this ring is very thin and it only lasts a few minutes. For today, annularity will last 4 or 5 minutes at our various locations. So yes, it's all to do with those very small differences in the distance from the Earth to the moon.
Yeah. And so that's why we get this beautiful ring of fire. You've got the moon silhouetted against the sun, and that's why you have to keep wearing your eclipse glasses, because the brightness is so strong that you will hurt your eyes. So
that's correct. An annular eclipse is a partial eclipse. Today, at most, about 90% of the sun will be covered by the moon. That remaining 10% is dazzlingly bright and extremely dangerous to look at without proper eye protection. So yes, that's why, quite rightly, Anna, you are putting out the message about eclipse glasses today.
And we're still looking at these beautiful images. We've got Roswell here. We sent a team off to Odessa, Texas, but we could have just stayed everyone here. We've still got clear skies, and we've got this beautiful image coming in from Jeremy just across the way here. And we see the moon is starting to take a bite out of the sun from the top. Now in San Diego, it's kind of coming from the side, from the right hand side, and Bluff, it seems like it's even further down. Why is that, Graham?
Yeah, so here we're looking at the sun from different places in North America. So we're getting a slightly different angle on this eclipse. Yes, we're seeing this bite is happening at slightly different places on the disk of the sun. We're also seeing that the sun has got slightly different colors in all of these feeds. Of course, it's the same sun we're looking at, but all of our partners today are using different kinds of telescopes. They're using different kinds of filters, different kinds of equipment. And this is giving the sun different shadings in these images coming in from our various locations.
So we're excited. We've got all these beautiful sun images. The clouds are staying away. I'm still keeping my fingers crossed. We're still an hour out from annularity. First contact is already happened, and we will be back very soon. Take a look at timeanddate.live. There's images there. There's reactions on social media. There's pictures. There's articles about what an annular eclipse is. You can read more about annular eclipses and why they happen. So don't go anywhere. We will be back soon. Welcome back. You're watching an annular solar eclipse on timeanddate.com, and we're looking at the moon taking a bite out of the sun from live from Odessa, Texas in the USA, and from San Diego, California in the US. So the eclipse is really progressing right now. So it's looking beautiful. And we have someone special with us. We've got Angela Perez. She's in Ronaldinho, yep, Colombia, and she is the astronomy coordinator at the planetarium and president of the Colombian Astronomy Network in Colombia. So let's bring her up on the screen. And there she is.
Hello, Graham, and hello,
Hi.
everyone.
Hey, hello, good morning, Angela, and thank you very much for joining us on Time and Date.
Thank you, Graham, and thank you very much for time and day to allow us to be here with you sharing this special day. Because for Colombians, we are very happy to see the sky, the sun with the moon. We are very excited.
Wow, that's fantastic. And thank you for sending us telescope images there from Colombia today. So, Angela, you are about 1 hour, 15 minutes away from the start of the partial eclipse there in Colombia. Where exactly are you today?
Well, I must to tell you that I ran a lot of kilometers since Medellin to Tuluá looking for the best place to see the eclipse. So I get between Tuluá and Buga, a very special place to see the eclipse. So I'm like in the 6 degrees latitude north, very near to the equator. So we're very happy here. Like, no, my mistake, 3 degrees above the
Yeah.
equator line.
Wow.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. And what kind of area are you set up in today?
I'm in the department, we call like your states, we call here departamentos, departments, and it's Valle del Cauca. One of the municipalities that is called San Pedro, between Tuluá and Buga. There's a very beautiful song that you can find it that calls Valle del Cauca from Nietzsche. It's a salsa. Probably if you want to dance with the municipalities, you can find that one. You have to look Valle del Cauca.
Okay, we'll be dancing after the show, won't we, Graham? Oh, that's awesome. And how are your preparations going, Angela? You're still a bit out from first contact and from annularity where you are.
Yes, the preparation of the astronomy groups in Colombia is ready. We are more than 80 locations. We have confirmed all of them. They're gonna have solar activities with observation workshops for kids. I mean, the Colombian Network Astronomy are ready. It includes astronomy clubs, amateur astronomy groups, planetariums, and observatories all over the country. For instance, the Planetarium of Medellin will host an event on the terrace and also in the Deseos Park, where Excalibur, one of our astronomy amateur groups, are going to give the solar classes that we receive from Astronomers Without Borders. I mean, in Colombia, there are many groups organized by many different departments. We have like 32 departments, and we have activities in most of them.
That sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's that's amazing work you have been doing preparing for this eclipse in Colombia. Um, Angela, you mentioned there about Astronomers Without Borders. Anna, they're Astronomers Without Borders are old friends
Old friends of us.
of Time and
Yeah.
Date, and yeah, we've been working with them for many years. And Angela, I know you're one of the key people within Astronomers Without Borders, and they really have given some great help and support to Colombia and other places with their solar eclipse glasses program.
Yes. Thanks to them, to Astronomers Without Borders, Sue, and all the team in Astronomers Without Borders, because in our meetings, we have one meeting each month. They told us that they can give us to some places glasses. So I organized the way to bring in to Colombia, because Astronomers Without Borders donate that. Thank you very much, because they give us 12,000 solar viewers for Colombia. So I had to organize the sponsors to do that real in Colombia, because the glasses must to travel more than 3,000 kilometers to come here. So, for instance, Nicolás Aguirre, the Office of Astronomy for Outreach, and the Minister of Science and Technology here in Colombia helped me to bring the glasses here, and then we distribute it by different places here in Colombia. 12,000 glasses are in the hands of 12, more or less 12,000 families that are going to enjoy the eclipse in the safety way with the solar viewer. So I'm really happy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Thank you
wonderful.
to
That's
Astronomers
really
Without Borders.
giving so many people the opportunity to enjoy the eclipse who otherwise might not have the chance. That's wonderful stuff. And yes, Astronomers Without Borders really are doing some fantastic work.
And it's worth mentioning that these
Yes,
glasses are
yes.
recycled. These glasses are from the 2017 eclipse in here in the US, and they have been vetted and cleaned and made sure that they're safe before they've been sent to Colombia. So that's pretty amazing that things are being reused as well.
Absolutely, yes. And you've been working with Astronomers Without Borders in preparing people in Colombia for the eclipse as well, Angela.
Yes, we prepared trying to teach them how they can make cajas, boxes for the secure observation as well, how to use the glasses, how they can, for instance, make different type of filters. Look what we did with some materials, of course, with a safe ISO filter. They can use something like that to also cover all the face. Many different activities, also where to go to see the annularity if they want to move the city from city. It was very nice. And also because I went to Houston this year, like on March, I found there to Rachel, and with her I was talking to the eclipse, because I wanted to have a map for blind people, and NASA and Cassandra helped me to do the map for Central America and South America, and NASA give us the opportunity to have the map here in Colombia. So we also distributed that map in order to let the blind people to see the or to feel the configuration of the eclipse. And now I hope many blind people is ready to feel the sense of an eclipse. So because today is a very special day. These are the boxes
Absolutely.
we did.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's fantastic. And well, hey, Angela, you have just over 1 hour until the partial eclipse starts with you. So we are going to let you carry on with your preparations and carry on getting ready for this. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us this morning, Angela.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to meeting you, to meet all your team, the team of Time and Date. We're really happy. Anytime you want to came to Colombia, don't hesitate. I will be ready for you here to teach you our planetarium in Medellin and our country. It's amazing.
Thank you so much, Angela. Now, we have been looking at pictures from Angela's pictures from Roldanillo, just above her there while we were talking to her. We're looking at beautiful pictures from Roswell, New Mexico, and from Odessa, Texas. We've got the sun being covered by the moon there. The moon's really taking the chunk out of the sun right now. So take a look at timeanddate.live. There we have more information about the eclipse, about what's happening, what's coming up, about the timings. So go and have a look there. And we are going to be back here as well soon.
First day at NASA was August 21st, 2017, which was an incredible solar eclipse. All my classmates and I got to go outside and stare up with everyone. Pretty much everyone else at NASA was outside in those moments looking at the solar eclipse. So that's something I'll always remember.
Wow, oh my gosh, what an incredible first day that must have been. Solar eclipse events provide scientists with a unique opportunity to study the sun in different ways. So with that, I'm wondering, how do you study space weather and impacts from the sun on the International Space Station?
Well, Emily, from the International Space Station, we have a really unique vantage point looking back at the Earth. But also there are several experiments actually mounted right outside here on the Japanese experiment facility outside of the GEM module.
Regarding the space weather, specifically from solar flare activities point of view, a specialists on the ground kindly observe it continuously, and when there is a big solar flare, they notifies it of us, and we move to a relatively safe place on the International Space Station.
Wow, I am so glad that you're well protected up there on the International Space Station. I want to touch back on the annular solar eclipse. This celestial event kickstarts NASA's heliophysics big year, which is a global celebration of sun science and a year where we're inviting the public to do as many sun-related activities as possible. And so I'm wondering, what is your favorite thing about the sun?
Well, Emily, for me, I don't particularly like the dark, and I don't particularly like being cold. So I'm a big fan of the light and the warmth the sun brings. We wouldn't be the planet we are without the sun.
Yeah, Emily, I echo Jaws, and I like the brightness and the warmth of the sun, and I'm looking forward to the next solar eclipse.
That reminds me of something that my friends in heliophysics say, which is that the sun touches everything. With that, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today about the sun, and I hope that you both have a great view of the eclipse wherever you might be, and good luck with the rest of your mission.
Thanks so much, Emily. Have a good one.
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you.
I mean, how cool is that? Can you imagine seeing the shadow of an eclipse on Earth from space? It would just have to be incredible. Now, folks, the crowd is growing here in Kerrville, Texas, as we inch closer to our moment to witness that Ring of Fire effect in person. Now, it's a good time to check in with James at our Eclipse desk. James, how are things looking on your end?
Hey, Tahir, yes, so we're still just a little bit away from the Annularity here in Kerrville, Texas. Really cool to see the science going on in the International Space Station. Coincidentally, there's actually some really cool science going on just a little bit to the west of us in just a few moments in White Sands, New Mexico. And right now I'm actually joined by scientist Jamie Favors, who can walk us through exactly what we're about to see with this sounding rocket launch. Jamie, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, James.
Yeah, so is this your first annular eclipse?
It is, yeah, and first time launching rockets into an eclipse too, so.
Amazing, and we're about to have the first of 3 launches. I understand we're kind of timing these launches out to specific times here, right?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. So we'll have 3 launches during the eclipse, about 35 minutes before the peak. That'll be this first one, right in the middle of the peak, and then 35 minutes after the peak. Studying that upper atmosphere, the ionosphere, kind of see what are those impacts from the sun that really change, important features of the upper atmosphere that impact things like radio communications, satellite operations. Yeah.
And we just had a launch yesterday in Cape Canaveral, Florida, of our Psyche mission. That's going out into deep space, but these rockets, which just launched actually here,
Perfect.
this is just took off, so this is actually going to come back down afterwards.
That's right. So we're seeing first stage burnout here, about 6 seconds in. Blink out for a second, so the rocket's still moving along. There we see the rail, the pad that we just launched from. So as we're launching into space, we're going to start making measurements roughly about a minute into launch, so we're a few seconds in now. I bet we're getting pretty close to the second stage lighting off at this point to take us all the way into space. So roughly that 1 minute mark is where we start to do a lot of the science.
Oh.
The payload separates from the rocket. We have some deployables we'll release from that payload out at that point. We'll start moving that payload around in space so that it's starting to make good measurements. We have these booms or arms that come off of the payload, start making different measurements there of like magnetic structures, electric structures in the upper atmosphere, as well as temperature and density. One way to kind of think about this, what the shadow of the eclipse is doing in that upper atmosphere is it's creating these waves as all those temperature and density changes are occurring. So kind of think about it in the way of like a boat moving through the water.
Yeah.
We've all seen a boat move and you see the waves propagating out from it or moving away from the boat. That same thing is happening here with the eclipse and that shadow. So with those 3 rockets, we're launching one right before the boat moves through,
Yeah, exactly.
one right in the middle of the boat coming by, and then one right after the boat moves through, or the eclipse shadow.
Sweet. And so we are just now a couple minutes away from actually getting Annularity here in Kerrville, Texas. Our first view is actually going to be up in the Pacific Northwest, up in Eugene, Oregon. They are going to be experiencing this starting at around 9:17 local time. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck for the next 2 launches.
Yeah, thank you so much, James.
Back to you, Tahira.
Wow, I mean, if the day wasn't exciting enough, now we've got a rocket launch in the mix. This is
so exciting.
It's incredible. And I mean, what a NASA broadcast, right? And so thank you, James and Jamie. Now, Gina, we have a lot of great questions rolling in from our viewers online. How do you feel about taking a few?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. So our first question is from Entertainment on Facebook, who asks, how often do eclipses happen?
Great question. Well, thank you for that. So there are actually eclipse seasons. And so we can get eclipses about 2 to 3 times a year. You might expect them to happen every time there's a new moon, but that's not the case because the orbit of the moon is tilted by about 5 degrees, which means sometimes the shadow is a little too high and it doesn't hit Earth, and sometimes a little too low. So we need those eclipse seasons as that sweet spot.
Okay, nice. And so I actually have a really great follow-up to that.
Okay.
Spectacular Science podcast on YouTube asks, how do you predict solar eclipses then?
Okay, well, it's actually pretty straightforward how to calculate the eclipses because we have a good understanding of the moon's orbit. We have a good understanding of the Earth's orbit and how that whole system is connected. And so we kind of take the geometry and the inputs that we have, and we're able to pretty accurately predict those eclipses. And so these are things that we can look out decades in advance to understand when eclipses can occur.
Oh, cool. And so how often would an eclipse pass in the same city? Do you know?
Well, so for total solar eclipses, it's very unique for an eclipse to pass more than, it's about once every 375 years that a location can experience it. So it's pretty hard to be in the same spot to see a total solar eclipse more than once.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we have a user on X who asks, will the International Space Station photobomb the eclipse? That would look very cool.
Yeah, and so we just got to hear from the International Space Station, and the unique thing about our astronauts on board is that they have a totally different vantage point for studying the eclipses, and they get to actually view the shadow of the moon as it passes over the Earth. And there are experiments that we have on board the space station as well. And so, with NASA, we have all of these different eclipse experiments that are taking place, and we try to take advantage of every perspective that we have.
Awesome. So we have a final question from Dante. This is going to be a quick one.
Okay.
But Dante on Facebook, who wants to know, will the moon block solar wind along its path during this Ring of Fire eclipse?
Oh, I love that question. So the solar wind is actually a stream of charged particles that's constantly coming off of the sun, and it interacts with the Earth and other planets in our solar system. Now, the Earth's magnetic field actually blocks a majority of those particles from interacting with Earth. Some are able to get through and interact with our upper atmosphere, but for the sake of the eclipse, most of the particles will still kind of be able to be deflected around the Earth's magnetic field. There will be some that are able to interact with the moon.
At Shutterstock, we know you have creating to do. A story, a campaign.
Shadow will be touching down in the Pacific Ocean in a few minutes. That's when Annularity will begin worldwide. And then it races off across the globe, following the path of Annularity, this narrow strip across the globe, about 200 kilometers or 130 miles wide. And that's where the Ring of Fire will be visible today. And we're saying that the shadow will be racing across the globe. I mean, as sort of a good illustration of just how fast the moon's shadow will move is to take the example of us here in Roswell and our second time and date team in Odessa in Texas.
We sent them off yesterday.
We did. So we've been here all week in Roswell. We've been enjoying beautiful blue skies.
Blue skies.
Yeah.
Warm temperatures.
Warm temperatures, blue skies. But when we've been studying the weather forecasts, depending on the model that we were using, Roswell was anything from 0 up to perhaps 30% chance of cloud cover. Whereas in nearby Odessa, just across the border in Texas,
0.
Yeah, on all models, it was showing just a very small percentage chance for cloud. So we sent Stefan and Konstantin off yesterday. Roswell to Odessa, it was, for them it was a 3.5 hour
like that,
drive. It's about 200 miles for them, about 320 kilometers in a straight line. It's a little bit less. But yeah, yesterday it took them, well over 3 hours to make the drive. Today, the moon's shadow is going to do the same drive, but it's going to cover it in just 5 minutes. The annular eclipse will start here in Roswell at 16:38 UTC, as it says on our timeline on the left.
30 minutes from now?
30 minutes from now, exactly. And then just 5 minutes later, the moon's antumbral shadow will reach Odessa in Texas. So yeah, the shadow is racing across the map at around about 2,000 miles per hour.
That's insane.
Something like 3,500 kilometers per hour. So yes, Roswell and Odessa is a good illustration of just how quick the moon's shadow is moving today.
It's moving super fast, and the sun is also moving super fast. We're finally getting a little bit of sunlight glowing here on our little canopy here. We're warming up fairly soon. We're going to warm up a little bit more. We keep running out of our tent, putting our eclipse glasses on, protecting our eyes, looking up at the sun and seeing the moon eat away at the sun there. We're very excited up this end as well. I can feel it. I can feel it bubbling. I'm excited. So please stay tuned. I've got my fingers still crossed for Klamath Falls that we're going to get some annularity from there. If not, we're definitely coming up to annularity in Roswell and Odessa. The reason you can't see Odessa on that timeline is that they're so close together that we just squish the names together. So we decided to stay with Roswell. So stay tuned. And while you're waiting for us to come back, you watch timeanddate.live on there. We've got reactions to the eclipse. We've got social media. We've got stories behind the scenes. There's all kinds of fun stuff to look at there. So we will be back soon. You're watching an annular solar eclipse here on timeanddate.com. We're live from Roswell, New Mexico, and things are, I'd like to say heating up, but they're kind of cooling down as the moon covers up the sun. But we're getting frantically excited here. And I'm thinking they're super frantic up in Oregon in Klamath Falls, because we've been peeking behind the scenes at some images and they're struggling a bit. They're having some technical issues, but they should be able to be watching. They're probably wearing their eclipse glasses, looking at the annular eclipse, annularity, just as we're speaking here, because yes, they do. As far as we can see, they've got some clear skies to see it there, haven't they, Graham?
That's right, yes. So annularity is underway in North America. We can see from our moving eclipse map, which is on the screen just above Anna and me. So on that map, we have that sort of pinky strip running across the map. That is the path of annularity, the narrow path along which people can see the ring of fire today. And we have that red dot that is slowly moving its way along that pink strip. We say slowly moving its way along. It is moving at a colossal speed. So that red dot, it touched down in the Pacific Ocean. It's raced across to the west coast. It's now making its way from Oregon into Nevada, and just above it we have our telescope feed coming in from our friends at the Exploratorium, who are based in Ely, Nevada. They're getting very close
indeed.
Annularity there. After that, the eclipse is moving on down into Utah, and then it'll be arriving here in New Mexico. Will be the next to see.
We've got our glasses ready, but we're going to be sitting here talking you guys through it as well. So we'll see how that goes.
So yes, the annular eclipse is happening in North America.
It is happening, and there are some things to look for at annularity, because people are going to be out there looking at this. And what are we looking for during annularity, Graham?
Well, one of the big highlights at the beginning and end of annularity is Bailey's beads. Now, people might be familiar with Bailey's beads from total solar eclipses. This is where little beads of sunlight can be seen streaming through valleys on the edge of the moon's surface. The difference between a total eclipse and an annular eclipse is that in a total eclipse, these beads can be seen on the leading edge of the moon at the start of totality as it crosses the final bit of the sun. In an annular eclipse, the beads can be seen on the trailing edge of the moon. It's the trailing edge that is the last bit to cross the edge of the sun and form this ring around the moon. So yes, that is one of the highlights to look out for at the beginning of annularity.
Cool. And we're waiting. We're excited about annularity coming up, and we will be showing them here on the screen. So we're going to go off and leave you guys with our moving map. It'll replace Graham and I here at the bottom. And please make sure to look at timeanddate.live as well. There's all kinds of stuff happening in the Time and Date live stream under there. So we'll see you soon. and welcome back. You're watching annular total eclipse. No, that was just a mess, wasn't it? Annular solar eclipse. We've been frantically working in the background here. We've had problems both in Odessa and here in Roswell. Images falling out, and we've been crazy scrambling to get things going. So there you go. That crazy scrambling gets my mouth scrambling too. We're seeing the light levels go down here. We're seeing the shadows on the ground change into little crescent shapes. You can really feel like that the excitement is in the air and things are changing.
Absolutely. And we can see on the screen the cause of all of this. It is because we are just moments away from annularity and the ring of fire here in New Mexico. So the moon has been working its way across the face of the sun for the last hour and a half or so. And we are now just in the final moments before the trailing edge of the moon at the top of the screen here moves across the edge of the sun, and the sun will form a complete ring around the edge of the moon. That is annularity, the ring of fire. That is the big highlight for today.
It is, and we're hoping to see some Bailey's beads there on the trailing edge of that image.
That's correct. Yes. Meanwhile, in the top right corner of the screen, from a couple of 100 kilometers further down the path of annularity, we have the pictures coming in from Odessa, Texas.
That's the other team from Time and Date.
That's our second Time and Date team, and they are just a few minutes behind us.
Ooh, the birds are going a bit crazy.
They are. I don't know if you could hear the squawking of the birds there. The light levels are really starting to go down here now in Roswell. It really is like evening is coming in. The temperature is
dropping.
It's dropping. I'm really feeling that on my skin. A big drop in temperature here. And yes, keeping an eye on the screen, we can see that the edges of the sun there at the top of the screen, those two horns of the sun, they are working their way towards each other, getting closer and closer, and they will very soon be touching and forming a ring. Just as they touch, that's when we may get the opportunity to see these Bailey's beads. That's the very final little bits of sun before it forms that complete ring, shining through little valleys on the edge of the moon's surface.
You can see there on our timeline, we've moved through Klamath Falls. The moon's moving through, projecting its antumbra, its shadow, onto us to produce this annular eclipse. Yeah. And I could just hear here on my air, I got interrupted by Gus in our studio back in Stavanger HQ. Camera is being adjusted in order to get the proper annularity here in Roswell. So hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers now. We've been looking at Jeremy sorting things out here in the background. And wow, there it is. There it is. And let's pay attention to this because it's close.
And there it is. That is the start of annularity here in Roswell, New Mexico. The sun has formed this complete ring around the edge of the moon. That is the entire moon silhouetted against the face of the sun. And we are beginning 4.5 minutes or so of annularity here in Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah, and as we said, this shadow is moving so fast at the moment, and this annularity here in Roswell will overlap with annularity in Odessa, wouldn't it?
That's right. Before we reach the end of annularity in Roswell, it will be starting down the road in Odessa in Texas.
Why is it that it just kind of, I'm just imagining doing the circles kind of down the path. Why does it happen like that?
Well, we can really see that from that moving eclipse map that we have on the right side of the screen there. That bright red dot in the middle of the map, that is the moon's antumbral shadow. That's what's causing this ring of fire. At the moment, the middle of that dot is more or less over Roswell. Roswell is about 30 kilometers or about 17 miles off the very center line of the path of annularity. So that's where we are now, almost in the very center of that dot. As the dot moves off Roswell on that map, it is already moved into Texas at the other end of that dot. So annularity is starting in Odessa at the same time that annularity is finishing here in Roswell. And we are round about the middle of the eclipse here. Because we're not exactly on the center line here in Roswell, we don't get a perfectly symmetrical ring. You would have to be exactly on the center line in order to get that symmetrical ring all the way around the sun. But we are very close. So that is giving us, I mean, right here, we are looking at more or less a perfect
a little bit
ring.
wider on one side there, but still pretty damn perfect, I reckon.
That's correct. That's correct. And this is just a great reminder that the sun and the moon and everything in the sky is always in motion. It's always moving. We very rarely get to actually see things moving in the sky because it's such a slow and subtle movement. But here, over the course of 4.5 minutes, we can of course clearly see the moon moving relative to the sun.
You can see it thinning a little bit on the side now. We can see it moving.
That's right. So we're now into the final stages of annularity here in Roswell. The moon has made it nearly all the way across the face of the sun. Meanwhile, in the top right corner of the screen in Odessa, the whole process is about to repeat. We are getting very close to the start of annularity there in Odessa. The two horns of the sun
are going to meet again.
That's right. Once again, they're getting closer and closer. So we're looking.
We're going to let Gus know to switch the images around. We're hoping to get that to happen quite soon, right?
That's right. I think at some stage we're going to swap these images over. But yes, we are looking at annularity coming to an end. The moon has just finished its travel across the face of the sun, and that ring will be broken very soon. Meanwhile, at the same time, in nearby Odessa, Texas, there you go. There we go. Yes, right. Things are just about to begin in Odessa, Texas, just as things are finishing in Roswell, New Mexico.
There you go.
And there it is. Annularity begins in Odessa, in Texas. So on that red dot on our map, Odessa is on the right side of that dot as it moves across North America, and Roswell is now just to the left of that dot as annularity ends here in Roswell.
We should remember to breathe, huh? It's just surreal, and what we're actually looking at is the new moon, and that's a bit funny to think about, isn't it? Because normally we don't see the new moon.
That's right. This is actually a perfect view of the new moon. As you say, Anna, it's the one moon phase that we never normally get to see because it happens when the moon is between the Earth and the sun. We are looking here at the dark side of the moon. It is the same side of the moon is always pointing towards the Earth, and how much of it is lit up depends on the moon phase. So at new moon, none of the near side of the moon is lit up. That's one of the reasons we can't see the new moon. But here it is, facing towards the Earth as the dark side of the moon. And there we are now. Now, in Odessa, our second time and date team is very close to the center line. Only about 2 kilometers or 1 mile from the center line. They're just, I think it's about 7 blocks south of the center line. So here in Odessa, we are getting a a perfect ring
Yeah.
there. That is really a perfect ring of fire.
It is for sure. And we've got two rings. That doesn't mean there's two rings of fire in the sky in Odessa, but we have two telescopes pointed at the sun and the moon at this time, so we get two different views of it. And also you can see the different colors depending on, like we were discussing earlier, depending on filter, depending on type of telescope, those things.
That's right. But even as we're speaking, Anna, we've now lost that perfect ring already. We can now see that the moon is moving towards the other side of the sun.
Oh, look at that.
And now here we are looking through one of our other telescopes here. Now we've got the exposure turned right up on this telescope, so that really is a ring of fire. That really is giving an idea of just how bright the sun is. We can see a lot of activity happening around the edge of the sun there. We can see some prominences at the top of the sun, on the right hand side of the sun.
Those are the yellow things sticking out.
That's right. That is plasma from the sun being flung out in loops around the edge of the sun.
And they have a bit of wind there. You can see it shaking around a bit.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Yes. This is...
Oh, okay. We just got told on our air again that Stefan in our team in Odessa is manually controlling this telescope in order to get us these images at the moment. So he's overriding all our mounts and our solar following equipment to get us these images.
So there we go, and we are now approaching the end of Annularity in Odessa. That was 4 minutes and 50 seconds in total of Annularity there. We're now working our way towards the end. This is about a 90% partial eclipse.
Yeah.
Here, that thin ring around the edge of the moon, that is about 10% of the sun's disk that is left unexposed during Annularity.
This is my cue. Eclipse glasses. 10% sunlight doesn't sound like a lot.
Absolutely. Now, I think at the bottom of the screen there, now, as the leading edge of the moon starts to break that ring, we're seeing the ring break up into small beads of light. That is Bailey's beads. That's because the edge of the moon is not a perfectly smooth circle. We have these valleys on the edge of the moon. So there, as the ring is being broken, and we can still see along the horns of the sun as the moon moves across the sun, we can see that there's little blobs of light and darkness in the pointy edges of the sun there. Again, that is Bailey's beads. Valleys on the edge of the moon, which are giving us this effect. We've got planes flying overhead. I think they've been out observing this eclipse. We've still got some dogs barking away in the neighborhood here. I'm not sure how noisy they are on the feed. A bit of chatter from the birds as well. Here in Roswell, the light is starting to come back. Just in the last few minutes since Annularity ended here, we've seen the light levels start to increase here. And there in Odessa, we are back into the second partial phase of the eclipse, as the moon now starts to move off the face of the sun and uncover it once more.
So we're going to put our eclipse glasses on. We're going to sneak around the corner and have a look. We're actually at an eclipse location, so we're going to take a look with our own eyes, aren't we?
That's correct. Yes. And meanwhile, still to come, our timeline on the left of the screen there, the dot is moving its way down the timeline. So we've had Annularity in Oregon and in Nevada and Utah, New Mexico, Annularity now working its way across Texas. But we still have much more to come.
A lot more to come. We've got interviews coming up. We've got more annularities coming up. So it's worth hanging around for that. And also timeanddate.live. There's all kinds of stuff happening there. There's pictures, there's people's reactions, there's social media, there's stories of who we are behind the scenes here. There's stories of our partners. So go and have a look, and we will be back soon. Welcome back. You're watching an annular solar eclipse at timeanddate.com. We're on the ground here in Roswell, New Mexico, and the sun is coming out again. The temperature is finally warming up again. We've been freezing cold here. We've got the sun coming round us. We've been watching some beautiful annularities. Our friend Robin Higdon and her team from Exploratorium captured annularity awesomely there from Nevada and Utah. And we've also had 2 rounds of annularity up here on our big screen from our own team from Roswell, New Mexico, and then Odessa, Texas. We observed some beautiful Bailey's beads there from Odessa. Stefan adjusting his telescope so that we could capture that and some beautiful prominences. So it's been gorgeous. And Graham, what's happening on our live map?
Okay, so the state of play with the eclipse worldwide, we can see on our timeline on the left-hand side of the screen that annularity has finished in the United States, and we are heading towards the global maximum point of this eclipse. And on the right-hand side of the screen, just above us, Anna, we've now brought back our live map showing where the moon's antumbral shadow is right now. This is the small area of land which is experiencing annularity or the ring of fire right now. That's that small red dot in the middle of the screen. It's passed across North America. It's gone across the Gulf of Mexico. It's now over Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, heading into Belize. Then it will go through Honduras, Nicaragua, and out into the Caribbean Sea. That will be the global maximum point. On the map, just below the map, we do have some data there showing where annularity is happening now. We've got west and north coordinates on the left, and on the right, we have the speed of the moon's shadow. It has been slowing down.
It has.
When it was passing over Oregon, it was moving at a few thousand miles per hour, much quicker than it is now. As we get towards the global maximum point of the eclipse, it gets to its slowest speed. Solar eclipses, they start somewhere in the world at sunrise. They reach their maximum somewhere around midday when the sun is at its highest point in the sky, and then they end somewhere else in the world at sunset. So now the ring of fire is taking place around about midday as the eclipse passes over Central America. It will be an afternoon eclipse in Colombia and Brazil, and we still have that all to come.
All to come. Yeah. So we can see the annularity speeding through there, and it will hit Colombia, and we'll zoom the map in at the right spot once we get there. Now we're going to connect with Jim Todd. He's in Klamath Falls in Oregon. He was struggling behind the scenes to get the pictures up, and I'm hoping that he got to see the annularity for himself. Now, he's the director of the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry in Portland, Oregon, and he's at the Running Y Resort in Klamath Falls. They're hosting him there, so they've got a whole party going on in the background, we've been told. So we'll get Jim up on the screen and we'll have a chat with him.
Hey.
Hi, Jim. You look nice and relaxed.
Well, what a show we had here. It was just absolutely gorgeous. Clear skies, everything worked so well for us here. We're having a big celebration, but you hear the music in the background, and people are just celebrating what a sight we had. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. We beat the odds, and we saw a magnificent show. Beautiful ring. People were cheering, clapping. It was just by design what we hoped for, and we couldn't be more happier than the turnout. We had several hundred people here, and it was just music to my ears to hear the people cheering and what have you. But we had a great show here, so we got very lucky break. Could see the clouds are moving in behind me. It's just now starting to cover up, so the timing was perfect. As I told Graham, we beat the odds. We got it today.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, congratulations
Yeah.
to everyone there, Jim.
Yeah.
That's wonderful news. You guys were the first to see annularity anywhere in the world today, so that's terrific. You're at a place called the Running Y Resort there in Klamath Falls. Could you just tell us a little bit more about where exactly you are today, Jim?
Yeah, we're in the southeast corner of Oregon. We're just a few miles north of the California border. We are actually east of Crater Lake, and we're in what we call the rain shadow of the Cascades, which was beneficial for us, being able to get this wonderful sky that we had today. And so, Running Y Resort, it's a beautiful resort with the golf course and everything. It was a setting for today, and we couldn't be more happier. And we had a viewing up at OMSI in Portland. We had nearly 1,000 people watching day and time,
Wow.
time and date on the screen. And so they were able to watch the event up there as well as down here.
Oh, that sounds really great. And you told us a little bit about how it was at Annularity, but how was Annularity for you, Jim?
I'm sorry, say that again, Ann.
How was Annularity for you? How was it to finally see the Ring of Fire?
It was spectacular. I mean, it was clear, it was clean. It's a huge prominence that we saw on the hydrogen alpha. It's a huge prominence. We got a line tilt on the hydrogen alpha telescope, looking at that beautiful prominence that we're seeing on the sun. So this is my third annular eclipse, but this one is
Wow.
was a show dealer because we're still clean.
Wow.
Ah, that's fantastic. Wow. Wow. What an experience. And Jim, when you're not chasing eclipses and when you're not helping explain things to people who are seeing annular eclipses, your day job is at the Oregon Museum of Science and Industry, and you do a whole great set of outreach and science communication work there. Could you just tell us a little bit about what the museum does for reaching out to the public?
Well, this is one thing to do that we go out to the communities and create the partnership and what have you. That we go to events that are happening in our own backyard, and that we do everything we can to promote the event, whether it's going to be at OMSI or in the state of Oregon. We try to go out there and offer the programming that we have because we have quite a following here in the state of Oregon. And the reason for that is that they expect us to do these kind of program offering, and they look to us. And we find every way that we can to promote and provide the unique science education that is involved in the eclipse. Now, after today, I heard so many people say, "What's next, Jim? Where are you going to be next?" And so that's great for us. And we have a unique partnership throughout the state with other astronomy clubs and what have you. So this is one of the highlights for me, both personally and professionally, that we get to do these kind of things, and there's nothing like it. That when we get people so excited about science, so get so excited about the eclipses. No wonder that we have millions of eclipse chasers. We had it in 2017. Now we have 2023. I tell you, the crowd is getting big right now, Graham.
It sure is. Yeah, excellent. Great stuff. Great stuff. Jim, we know that there's a party started up there in Oregon. So we're going to let you get back to celebrating today's eclipse. Thank you very much again for joining us today.
Thank you, Jim.
Absolutely. It's a great pleasure working with you guys. And this won't be the last. I look forward to doing more things with you two again and again in the future. So let's look on the calendar and let's find out what we could do next.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're watching an annular solar eclipse on timeanddate.com. We're on the ground in Roswell, New Mexico, in the United States, and at the viewing spots around here in Roswell, I'm sure that they're getting ready to party. The eclipse is almost over, but is definitely not over here, is it, Graham?
No, it's really getting close to finishing here. We can see on the screen in nearby Odessa, Texas, only a tiny bit of partial eclipse left there until things have finished. But worldwide, we are only halfway through this eclipse. If we take a look at our timeline on the left-hand side of the screen, we can see that maximum eclipse worldwide was at 17:59 UTC. That was just 3 minutes ago. So the action is now moving into the second half of the global eclipse. The moon's antumbral shadow is heading towards South America, where it will be crossing Colombia and Brazil. In the top right corner, we have pictures coming in from Neva in Colombia. That's from our partners at the Medellin Planetarium in Colombia. So they are well on their way towards annularity in Colombia. And the partial eclipse will be starting soon in Brazil.
It will.
Now, in Brazil, we have pictures coming in from a number of locations. We've been very fortunate to be able to collaborate with the National Observatory in Brazil, where there's been a fantastic team of people putting together all kinds of preparations for this eclipse. And we are going to go now and have a chat with one of the key organizers of their efforts. Coming to speak to us from Carnaúba dos Dantas in Brazil, we have Ricardo Ogando.
Hi.
Hi there, Graham. Hi, and how are things? Great to be
Well,
here.
things are good. Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
morning,
wow.
good
So,
afternoon, and good night for now, for everyone around the world, right?
absolutely, wow. And you're there with quite a crowd, Ricardo.
Oh yeah, people
Where
are
are
really
you?
excited around here to watch the eclipse. We're on top of the Monte do Galo, aka the Rooster Mount. It's a very important place here. It's a place of pilgrimage. Many Catholics come here to worship Our Lady of our victories, and so it's a beautiful place with a nice view of the horizon, and people are very excited to be able to watch the eclipse today, even though it's a bit cloudy. I mean, this is pretty deserted place in Brazil, right? Pretty dry, and we are waiting for a miracle to just blow the clouds away.
So where are you in Brazil, you and your colleagues today?
So I'm here with Marcelo Domingues, a
Yeah.
eclipse chaser. He's from the Astronomical Club of Brasilia. And so this is just one of the places in Brazil that is watching the eclipse, right? The National
Yeah.
Observatory, or Observatório Nacional, as we call it, managed to organize a stream of observers all over the path of the annularity, right? So people in Amazonas state, in cities like Tefé and Japurá. We have also people in Pará, in Canaã dos Carajás, in Piauí. It's another state. We have Picos and Floriano. We also have in Ceará, Juazeiro do Norte and Sobral. I mean, we sort of are reenacting the 1919 Sobral eclipse, right? I mean, we came all the way from Observatório Nacional. We had this sort of expedition. We had to climb the hill. I was lucky enough to get a motorcycle, to hitchhike a motorcycle up here. Cars are not allowed. but we had to carry all this equipment uphill. So we sort of reenacted the Sobral eclipse, and which was, of course, you all know about it. I mean, it was the key eclipse, along with the Prince Island, uh, to to validate the general relativity of Albert Einstein, right? But so I just, and also we have as long as Sobral also Canaúba dos Dantas here in Rio Grande do Norte. Say hello, Canaúba dos Dantas. and, and Parnamirim as well. And of course, right at the shore of Brazil, we have Natal and João Pessoa. Josina, it's will be awaiting us at the end. Josina, which is really the key person organizing this major effort that really took over during the pandemic to have these lives and have people broadcasting from all over Brazil to present astronomy to people all over Brazil. I mean, Josina Nascimento from the National Observatory is really the key person organizing this.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yes, and yes, and thanks for mentioning that historic eclipse from 1919, where some very important scientific observations were made during a total solar eclipse in the area where you are now. That's terrific. And here we are, just over 100 years later, and you're about 20 minutes away from the start of the partial eclipse. Is everybody set up and ready to go?
Well, Marcelo Domingues is, as you can see right here, he's trying to set his things up. we were challenged by the going uphill, so he's starting to set up. But from other places in Brazil, the people are ready to start observe. I mean, apart from any clouds that come in front of the telescope. People around here are also eager to get the glasses, the famous glasses, and start looking into the sun safely.
And you've got lots of people around you, and that's what this is all about. What kind of outreach work does the National Observatory do on daily basis?
So the National Observatory, apart from being a research institute, right, in astronomy and geophysics, and also has a historical role in set up in the legal time in Brazil, right? I mean, that's what astronomers used to do in the past, right? But now they use atomic clocks, and so apart from that, it has a grad student program in both these areas, and but also has a very strong outreach. After all, astronomy is quite dear to people, right? And so we have these programs to really involve teachers, high school teachers, and into how to observe. They can land telescopes. It's a very important program. We also have what we call it's astro educators to also to give some sort of special information to teachers. But this one that I just mentioned before, Céu em Sua Casa, which really took over during the pandemic, are these lives, right? Where we show events. The first one was pretty awesome. The occupation by the moon, the occupation of Mars by the moon. We even used our 100 years telescope at the observatory to observe it, and was the first huge success. Tens of thousands of people. Also then conjunctions, and of course, rebroadcasting time and date eclipses from all over the world where we could not reach. I mean, we would rebroadcast you and would be a huge success. And so it's a great honor. It's a great. I mean, it's amazing to be here and part of it, and broadcasting back to you the eclipse.
Well, it's an honor to have you guys on our show as well. We've really, really enjoyed all the preparations we've had with you and talking to you guys. And yeah, thank you so much, Ricardo. And we're going to let you try to set up the telescope there with Marcelo. So good luck with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good luck to everyone in Brazil today. We really hope that you get some good skies for a view of this eclipse. Thank you so much for taking the time to have a quick chat with us, Ricardo. And yes, good luck to everyone. What is it? Here we are. We can see on the screen that here in the United States, things are nearly finished. So our attention is turning towards South America. And okay, there's everybody there about to. Okay, eclipse will be starting there in a few minutes. So we are going to be back very soon with we hope a lot of eclipse action from Colombia and Brazil. So don't forget to check out all our resources, all of our updates on timeanddate.live. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will be back with you very shortly.